Welcome, everybody, to this beautiful Sunday. This is a great opportunity to be here today in this beautiful Roseland neighborhood today at Burst Into Books. This is honestly my first time being here, and I am very impressed with the location. It's so easy to park, so colorful in here, and I am impressed with the variety of books. And what a pleasure to say that I actually know one of the authors, Kam Will.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what a great place to have your book be where people can actually, come and check it out. And on today, we're going to have an interview with Kam Will,
Okay.
so he can speak to us about the book and all of all everything that it took behind the book and how it came to be. So I guess I want to start, Kam, with asking. I'm going to start with the title.
Okay.
It had to be that, so it can be this. Can you elaborate more on the title and how you came to that?
Hello. Okay. This mic is okay. So I titled Ikiwana.
Here, take this one. You
Okay.
can share.
That's fine. Okay. So I titled the book. It had to be that, so it can be this. Um, I think most of my life, I just kind of like go with the flow. I've been told before that I kind of like float through life. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing, but I feel like that's what Tony Braxton told me to do. So it is what it is. Anyway, y'all know I like a lot of music, so I'm gonna reference a lot of music, but it had to be that so it could be this. It's basically um, the way that I come up with the poems. I don't know anybody else, but the way that I come up with most of my poems is like I'll see something, or I'll hear something, or it'll be something that I learned, and then the poem is written, but a lot of times we never talk about what got us to writing the poem. And so for me, it had to be that is whatever the cause was, and then the effect is the poem. So it can
Understood.
be this. So that's kind of how the title came about. I had all of the poems written,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, this is kind of I don't know, just open a book and just start reading poems. I know we do it because I got a bunch of people's poem books like that. But for me, I spend a lot of time over explaining everything, and so I kind of feel like I'm doing that now.
No,
But that's where it came from. It was me deciding to put some stories in front of the poems and kind of like this is where some of these poems derive from.
I definitely don't think you were over explaining. And if it's one time to be over explaining, now is the
I
time.
mean, I understood.
I also, one thing I like about the book is there's sketches before some of the poems. And in the beginning of the book, there is a poem called A Black Boy's Story.
And that's an actual story.
Well, my apologies. Yes,
Yeah.
it's an actual story
Right.
called A Black Boy's Story that then leads into the poems.
Poems, right.
But what I like is also the sketches. Can you tell us a little bit more about the sketches, the story, and the poem, please?
Okay. So that first sketch in the book, it's before a black boy story, and that's happening. That sketch is how I see it, like a bird's eye view of the day me and my brother got arrested. Um, we were we were at John D. Shoot, which is on the other side of the expressway, and Morgan Park is on one side. So the house was right across the street from Morgan Park. So we were at John D. Shoot. One of my cousins, my cousin Terrence, was with us. He was down here for the summer, and Terrence is half Mexican, so he doesn't really look black. So when we were playing basketball, we came back to the house. Me and Terrence were at the bottom of the stairs collecting spiders in a jar, and my my brother, my two brothers had went upstairs, and some boys went over to the Beverly neighborhood, which is up the hill, and that's where like the people with money and more the white people stay at. And so they went up there and they stole some Diamondbacks and some Mongoose bikes, and they came down the hill. And in between Beverly and Roseland is the police station right there next to Morgan Park. And so They rolled right past the police station, and they came on our block, and there's a vacant house across the street from us where like the foundation was broke, and so they start funneling into the vacant house, and my little sister came outside and started telling the police where they were hiding at.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
so my mom and my great grandmother were in the house, and they were doing, I think y'all were doing taxes that day for the church. They were doing taxes for the church, and they were getting the taxes organized or whatever. And I saw my sister telling, and we had just moved to the neighborhood not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, they're gonna come over here and shoot us up. So I went upstairs and told my mom, I'm like, hey, Canvas is telling the police where the boys are hiding at. And so my mom was like, go out there and get her. You know, wasn't thinking nothing about it. I don't feel no way about it, but just the climate of, the society, like I walked into a trap. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And so I walked, and my brother was following right behind me. And between that incident and another incident where my younger brother, um, earlier that year, he had wrote an essay about the essay for my brother Chris was like, who's your favorite people, or who's your heroes or whatever. And he named me and my brother Courtney, his older brothers. And so I kind of knew my brothers were watching me. So it was just like, you know what? Yeah, I probably need to pay attention to what I'm doing, because every movie that I've ever seen or TV show, the older brother is out in the streets doing the hood stuff, gang banging, doing all of that. And then the younger brother follows him, but the younger brother ends up dying. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I don't want my brothers to die because I was being reckless. So I just kind of became like extra responsible and paying attention that my little brothers and my little cousins was watching. So yeah. How old were you at that time? I was I'm sorry. I was 13. I was 13. Um I was going into 8th grade. So yeah, I was going into 8th grade. We had just transferred from Joplin. We had just transferred from Joplin to John D. Shute. And I think we were there for like a month. And I was kind of like irritated that like I even had to go to school for that month, because I'm like, I want to go to another new school, because every time I go to a new school, I end up fighting because people always want to test a new person. And at that point, I just knew, okay, first person try me, I'm just gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I had stopped trying to avoid it, because it just prolongs what you're gonna end up having to do anyway. So just beat up the bully and call it a day. Beat up the bully and call it a day. That's a book title. Yeah.
I wanted to go more into that, the poem of that.
The Black Boy story.
Yes, because I know you were saying that happened at 13 years old. How does, I guess my question is, when you started writing poetry, was it before this incident or after?
So that's 13. Okay, so I can tell you when I got into poetry. So the reason why I got into poetry was right after that. And it's funny because I tell it in that story, but I tell it where music has always been a big part of my life. Like I remember having my cousin Tony right here. He had a he had a conversation with me, him, my brother, maybe last year, and he was like, "I remember when y'all came back from Georgia, and I had a Japanese fire newt, which is a lizard like a salamander,
Okay.
and I remember I had it. I don't remember having it in Chicago, but he told a story where one of my cousins was picking on me, and I just went off. And like, I don't know, it would take him to tell the story, but I don't remember him because I stayed in headphones so much.
Mm.
Like, I was so lost in my imagination, I don't really remember like a lot of the stories until I get to talking to my cousins and my brothers or whatever. So in that particular situation, um, I'm going into 8th grade. This had already happened at
Mm-hmm.
that point. And one of my teachers, I believe her name was Miss Seidelman, but the teacher, she would do this thing where she would give us a poem on like a Tuesday. So you get a poem on Tuesday for the class. Whoever could memorize the poem first and bring it back, you know how they get the big Hershey candy bars like
Mm-hmm.
this big? whoever could recite in front of the class first got the Hershey candy bar. So after like the fourth week of doing it in a row and getting the Hershey candy bar, then you start hearing the rumblings in the class. Because I was coming, she give us the poem on Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I knew the poem. I memorized the poem. And so, because it was like music to me. So I memorized the poem and I was just up there reciting them. And oh, he's a goody two shoes. And you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like one of those things. So then maybe by the fifth week, I started waiting until Thursday. I get them a day. I give them a day.
Catch up.
Nobody would have it. And so I would do it again. At that point, I don't care. Look, I gave y'all grace. Y'all didn't figure it out. So I would just go ahead and get the candy bars. And that's kind of how the poetry thing started. And then I started writing like shortly after that. But I never really performed until I went to college. I went to Illinois State. I went to Illinois State. When I was in college, we used to go. It was in the bottom of Waterson Towers. Is a place called Chatters, and we used to go in Chatters and do open mics, and that was the vibe.
That's when you got the bug, as they say.
I started doing the open mics and stuff like that.
Love it. Now I heard you speak on music, and there's one poem in here. I believe the title is "Music is My Muse."
Yes.
And tell us more about that, or even if you want to read a few parts of it. However, just elaborate more on the music.
Okay, so music is my muse. This is interesting. So okay, so that's in the chapter. The 96. Name of the chapter is "What Amusement," and it's a play on words because it's like what a muse meant or what amusement. Like, oh, that was fun. So that was what that song is it, or that poem is in that part. And so what a music is my muse is basically like the same way Erica Badu would have the song called "Love of My Life," or like Common has "I Used to Love Her." Music is my muse. You know what I'm saying? I can't rap, I can't sing, so I'm glad I found poetry because it's like the closest thing that I can get to like making music.
Gotcha.
And it's definitely the one thing that's like kept me from going crazy, throughout my life. So yeah, music is my muse.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are there any questions that anyone have so far? Because this is a conversation between all of us, not just the interview. So if there's any questions, feel free to yell out if you have any questions as well. What I did was I actually folded down a few pages that stood out to me. Okay. So I do apologize if I'm a bit all over the place. No, go ahead. I also like the poem back here. Well, actually, I want to wait for that one. Sorry, we already went on to music is my muse. I'm going to go next to Not Many.
Not Many.
And what stood out for me with this one is the truth behind the words. And I would like to know a little bit more how that poem came to be. And that, for people who's following along, that's on page 108.
Not many. So, not many. Let me get to it because I'm gonna read a little bit of it. Okay. Not many. Not many people will hear you. You have to remember to be your own way. You can travel thousands of miles around the world telling your story, and only those at the beach will hear you. The shore. Crest curving forward, water and foam breaking the threshold of your lips. This story is intense. The stories you tell to only those at the beach. They can hear you clearly. The ones early or late. Those that come or stay. So that's a part of Not Many. So basically what Not Many is to me is it's like it's a time sometimes where it's like you going through your life and you have a story that you want people to hear or you want people, but a lot of times what I realize is when I see people when they're going through something, they will focus on everybody that's not there. Like, oh, this person didn't show up for me, that person didn't show up. and you'll clearly be sitting in front of somebody. I've had it happen to me where like somebody's sitting in front of me and they're saying, "I don't have anybody," and I'm
Yeah.
sitting right here like I'm the shoulder you crying on. I'm the ear that you pouring
Mm-hmm.
into, and you don't realize that like I'm here. So when I say not many, um it's saying like those who are at the beach. I like to be at the beach. I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces, and I say that in one of these poems. Like I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces or because I grew up in a city that has a lake that feels like an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you always at the lake like that in the morning time, because I usually usually on Sundays I get up before sunrise and go to the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and I watch the sunrise at the beach. And the only people that's there are the people that get there early
Mm-hmm.
or the people that stay there late.
Mm.
And those are the people like your friends who come early when you have a function,
Mm-hmm.
or the ones who stay late and help you clean up.
No, yeah.
Those are the ones. Those are
Mm-hmm.
your not minis. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And so then the end of that it says, when the world is asleep and you're still up, those up with you in that time can hear your story clearly. They can hear you if you speak, if you choose to, and if they choose to listen, but not me.
But not many.
So yeah. So that's what that's what that was about. It's like it's encouraging people like stop looking past the people that's like actually there for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I'm saying, and maybe focus in on that.
I that resonates with me a lot for sure, especially in these times because I don't know if it's just a shift of what happened, but people are really showing themselves, and I'm realizing is not many. I am realizing that.
Definitely not.
Also, too,
Mm-hmm.
I did kind of want to save this for last, and I wanted to make sure before I touch on this one that I did hit everything that I wanted to hit. But before I ask my last question, is there anything that you want anyone reading your book, taking this book,
Mm-hmm.
or want to recommend this book to a friend?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that um, you want them to know,
Okay.
like what type of value? You always say add value, and this is
Okay.
definitely valuable.
Okay.
So,
So so something that I would want them to know. I mean I try to explain like when you read the book just because I had so my boss at the laundromat, she accidentally called me today, and I ended up talking to her for a second, and she told me she started reading a book. So she said she got through the first story, and she was like, "Oh, but what happens next?" And then she was like, and then it started becoming poems. And so she was like, "So I'm gonna read a couple poems every day," but she was like, "I want to know the rest of the story." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like the story actually, like people actually liking the stories. So
mm-hmm,
I'm like, okay. So I thought like maybe I'll do another one and I'll have more stories.
mm-hmm,
Because really the poems, like I said, are from lessons, and I got notebooks. I got like notebooks from 20 years ago sitting in my living room that have either the starter poems or the finished poems that maybe need to be updated or something like that, but they're there. And so yeah, so it's four stories or it's a couple stories and then a couple observations or lessons, and at the end of it then it's poems to like relate to it. So it's the first one is um it's about being a black boy in this society, and then the poems following it would be like being black in America or something like that, or racism or whatever. The second one is self-love, and that picture, when you see that picture, I'm in the room. I drew the room that I had when I used to look out the window and watch the band at Morgan Park play. And it was funny because when me and my brother got arrested that summer, the cop, while I was coming down the stairs to grab my sister, the cop yells, "Put your hands where my eyes can see." And then Busta Rhymes dropped, "Put your hands," like at
yeah,
the end of the year. And so it
mm-hmm.
was just like, it wasn't music the first time, but
No,
but every time I hear that song, I think about the day I got arrested, which I was just talking to Tamika about earlier. Like writing, maybe writing a book about songs because they remind you of certain, you imprint. At least I do. I imprint. Like there's never a day that I can hear Brandy sitting up in my room and not think about when me and my brother lived in Macon, Georgia. It's just it's stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's the thing. But I wanted to say, because this is a story that I don't have in the book, but I just kind of wanted to tell it because I thought it was funny and I was talking about it the other day. So when I graduated, well, it's two stories, and I can't. The first one I can't say anything because I don't want nobody looking at me funny. But I can't say no names is what I'll say. But there was a time when we were in between houses at some point, and this is not a cousin, this is not a sibling, this is somebody older that may have had something to do with raising me, but they had some fly clothes, right? And I'm gonna try not to give away if it was a male or a female, but I'm gonna try to get through this story. They had a fly outfit, and I knew I was gonna be over their house, and they had the outfit on, and they wore it, and then they threw it in dirty clothes. And I know that they don't wash their clothes that often, so I know it's gonna be in the dirty clothes. So I washed it, I put it in my book bag, and then I put it on the next morning, and then I put my clothes on top of it. And when I put my clothes on top of it, because it was a windbreaker outfit, so we used to call it swishies back in the day. And I'm looking this way because I don't want to, but we used to call it swishies back in the day, right? So we had on a windbreaker outfit, and I had my clothes on top. So immediately, what I started learning is lessons very fast because everybody knows. I'm sure some of y'all heard my dad talking earlier about how I used to run around and run into walls and stuff, and I was always running like my oldest son. He used to run everywhere. So um, I usually move fast when I'm walking, and so all of a sudden I'm trying not to make these clothes right. So they immediately like, why are you moving so slow? You know what I'm saying? My whole habit has already changed in this one moment, and this is because I want to dress fly like somebody else. And this is gonna get to why I dress the way I dress now. I'm gonna wrap it up. So I already know. Okay, you already changing the way you move, and they know that, right? Okay, so I leave the house. I get out of that jam. I get to the bus stop. Now we at a new school. So I get to the bus stop, and for whatever reason, some guy walks up with a trench coat and he got a shotgun under the coat. And he pulls it up and he puts it to my head. He said, I need that outfit. I say, what? He said, I need that outfit. And then somebody rides past and they blow the horn. I guess they saw him doing it, so they blow the horn. So he turns to look and see who it was, and I just take off running. So now I'm relying on my speed that I've always had to run away from bullets. And I'm like, you're not Superman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm learning all of this stuff the same day. So I'm running away from somebody who got a gun pointed at me. And it's like, I don't know. I was a kid. You know, I was like, I can't say how old I was, but I was younger than 13. I'll say that much. So I take off running. Now I'm at this point where I'm running, but I can't go back to the bus stop. We have a new school. Now, I normally, when I'm on a bus or when I'm in a car or something like that, if I'm not driving, I'm looking out the window. So I'm watching the scenery or whatever. So I know how the bus routes to the school, but I don't know where the school is. So I end up jogging the entire rest of the bus route from where my bus stop is to the school.
Because
that's the only way I know how to get to the school. So I end up being tardy to school. I go to school, and that's that. So that's that part of that story. So then you fast forward after the first story that we just talked about. Um, my mom, I know she not about to buy me no Jordans. I know we not doing that. So I never asked my mom for no Jordans. I never even had a pair of Jordans in my life. But I never asked her for any. I don't think. Did I ever ask you for some Jordans? No, your brothers, your kids might have asked. Anyway, I don't think I asked her for no Jordans. Maybe once. But anyway, I never got them, right? So I did ask for some hush puppies though. Because hush puppies, like when you in school and you got a uniform in the city, hush puppies become like the hierarchy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ended up getting some bee boots. I didn't get the hush puppies, but the bee boots was okay. You know what I'm saying? So I had my bee boots. I had like a little leather pair and a little suede pair, and I was doing good. So we get through school with the bee boots and the hush puppies or whatever, and we get to graduation. Do you remember what when you asked me what I want for high school? You remember what I told you? Remember what I told you? So my mom says, "What kind of clothes do you want for high school?" And I'm already knowing like I don't want to be like everybody else because I've already experienced all this other crazy stuff. So I tell her, I say, dress me like Carlton from Fresh Prince. I said, give me some khakis, give me some tennis, some flat Nike tennis shoes. And I didn't know they were called cardigans back then. I said, the sweaters with the buttons. Mm-hmm. And so when I went to high school, all I wore was like khakis. I wore jeans, but I had on polos the whole time. I had on polos and I had like the little Nike, the canvas Nike shoes, like $30 at, what's the, where you get the two shoes? No, not Payless, but
yeah, Payless didn't have Nike.
No, where you go, you buy one get one shoe carnival.
Shoe carnival, okay.
Shoe carnival, and you get to, you get two pair of shoes for $50 or whatever. Yeah. And so that's what I was doing. I was, what I'm saying, I was purposely not dressing like everybody else. And then I got so comfortable doing it, then it's just like, okay, yeah, I don't want to be like y'all. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what that was. So, those were two other lessons. I didn't put them in there, and maybe I'll write a poem. I think I started a poem about, standing out or whatever. But that's what it would have been about, like, you know what I'm saying. So, I just kind of feel like, if you ask me what I want people to take away from the book, just it's lessons and like all the stuff we're doing, and like if you sit down and you think about it, like, you can find the story that caused you to get to whatever conclusion you are. And I think sometimes we don't think about the stories. You know what I'm saying? We just worry about the results a lot. So
no, I agree.
The makings of you.
Absolutely. And I think the woman from the laundromat who spoke about how she really enjoyed the stories, mm-hmm. I was completely shocked by that story about the man coming out of nowhere with the trench coat.
Yeah. That's not like, in the book though. But
no, yeah. I just want to bring that up because I feel like this is phase one. I'm sure that this is going to be one of many. Right, I can just feel it in my spirit when someone's going to just.
You talking? I'm just leaning in.
Yeah.
When you said the trench man came up with the trench coat, yeah. I'm like, plot twist. I mean,
yes.
Wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, it was a crazy day. But I learned, okay, don't touch nobody else's stuff, because I clearly put on something that was hot. It was hot in these streets, and it wasn't for me to have on. I wasn't ready for all that attention. Right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it came with some heat, and so I was like, yeah, no, I saw enough people get taken up out of their J's.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That clearly was in the 90s because that was that was clearly the 90s.
Yeah. You had a starter jacket.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be looking around your back.
Yeah.
So that's what that was. It was, and I think a lot of times too, like I don't think this makes me like for the children in the room, I'll say a scaredy cat. I don't think it makes me a scaredy cat, but what I will say is watching enough like National Geographic or Animal Planet and stuff like that, I think that's why the leopard is like my favorite animal. Mm-hmm. Because a leopard, pound for pound, if a leopard was the same size as a lion, the leopard's gonna kill the lion every time. Pound for pound. Mm-hmm. But they're not as big as them. But what they do have is leopards are going to avoid everything. And whatever, like I see y'all over there, I'm not going out.
That's intelligence though.
I'm gonna go over here where it's smooth, mm-hmm. and I ain't gotta deal with all this nonsense.
Yes.
And that's just kind of how I live my life. So yeah.
The path of least resistance. I say that all the time. So that's absolutely. So definitely give us a book of stories. And
a book of stories.
Yes, a book of stories. I think the people give the people what they want, as they say.
Okay. We'll work on that.
I also, I'm going to close it out with, this is my
Okay.
I'm most excited about.
I gotta read that.
Yeah, read it.
Okay. So this is. I already know. Do you want to say it, or do I need to? I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, the one is one of my favorites because I feel like, you know, we're here in the book signing. I feel like we're going to all meet again and we're going to be in a whole different establishment. Mm-hmm. And the man says the first one is on me.
I mean, if all y'all come, I'm not going to make no money that day. But okay. It's not about the money though, Cam. It's not about the money. Okay, so I'm left-handed and I'm trying to, this is hard to do. Okay. He said
great way to be.
Great way to be. Okay, so I'm gonna try to hold this. So this first one's on me. Okay. This is a poem I wrote. I was mad at work one day. I was mad at work and my boss pissed me off. There's a couple people back there, Kim, Lala, Kia, they all here. These are my coworkers in the back. And they know, yeah, the boss we have. You said which one? Lord. Anyway, so the first one's on me. Imagine a cafe on a rainy day, on a busy boulevard in a bustling city. Poets standing in line to perform their favorite piece. People sipping wine or coffee as they listen. Words bouncing off the walls of the cafe in which they find themselves. Oh, this is a safe place for creators. Guitarists, artists, painters, poets, rappers, all gathered together in one space, like a watering hole in the Serengeti, to get more life, where our differences fall by the wayside. No time to argue over whether you have an Android or an iPhone.
Okay.
And I only say that for the iPhone users.
I feel attacked.
Because we know they are the ones that usually care when it comes to outdated technology.
Fake news.
We love to still use it. So you might see an old piano in the corner, a tambourine on the table. But the spirit of us coming together and sharing these good, edifying, delicious conversations and thoughts, this is why we come. When you leave here, you'll feel more elevated to chase your dreams. You'll feel more rested. It will give you the power to have another dream. Because if you're running all day and you don't get tired and you can sleep when you die, when do you ever gather new dreams, love? There's no time to gather new teams, love. This is the end of your last season. But we're revamping, we're retooling, so we can go to the next level. And at the next level, you'll need more people. You'll need better information. So this is our place to gather. This is our library of love. This library for the arts, for the lovers and their hearts. This is a hospital for us. Welcome to the cafe. My name is Kam Will. I'm your barista. This first cup is on me. Peace. Y'all make it the beans and grapes. Y'all make it the beans and grapes. I would recommend y'all get a lavender latte.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm making it, but Tony, I think we're gonna need you, brother. I think we're gonna need you. But yeah, so yeah, that's that. That was the poem I wrote while I was mad at work because I was daydreaming about my own business.
That's how it all starts. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yeah.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. I am excited to see where this book goes and also where you go, and wherever you go, I will follow because I do leave elevated and I do leave inspired. So thank you. And thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He told
And
me
then
to come.
so, right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my grandson, who's a second grader, told he said it was an adult conversation between him and J.I.
I met J.I.V. This year.
Okay.
Yep.
And he told J.I.V., my teacher read poems, and they were all white poems.
Mm.
No black poets. And J.I.V. gave him advice. He said, then you write.
You write them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just want to share.
Thank you. Thank you.
'Cause I thought
Thank
that was
you.
an
Yeah.
adult
I love
conversation.
J.I.V. If y'all don't know, J.I.V. is like one of the biggest poets in Chicago. He's all over Kanye West's first album. But yeah, that's one of my favorite poets. I got to meet him. Yeah. You.
Here, put this on.
I was gonna ask Curtis to play an instrumental, and I was gonna do
This on me,
Okay, you want to just kick it? I can. Y'all can all hear me in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can we give it up for Cam again for this book release? This is really cool. Yep, so I'm from Rock Island, Illinois. It's about like 3 hours from here. So like I met Cam through some open mics we have in that area and all that. And we've just been brothers since. So it's cool to kind of be a part of this. And I just had the honor to kind of share a poem and all that. So yeah. In the year 2865, us of the African diaspora decide to take our Juneteenth celebration to outer space, where we are unhindered by folks who can't stand joy that isn't their own, who scoff at our independence waving high in the air above their Confederate flags. I know what you're thinking. And the answer is no. We will not rely on Elon Musk spaceships to get there. For we will realize that we are gods, whose wings fly through black holes, constellations etched in emancipation, stretched through crystal stairs where Langston Hughes comes down to take stage after Queen Maya Angelou, whose words become doves, inspiring Gil Scott Heron to drop poems upon Pluto. Others will house party on Mars, where everybody won't hate Chris, even Will Smith. Tupac and Biggie make amends. Static Shock leads the electric slide. Chadwick, Cupid shuffles through Wakanda, and even Jesus, in his wool-haired bronze-foot glory, came down and did the Dougie on the dance floor. And Malcolm and Martin, they bring soul food sent from Saturn, prepared by hands of Harriets, whose recipes don't require the death of any animal. For we no longer have a taste for destruction. And the Black Panther Party, they form a choir whose harmonies can be heard on Neptune, where Trayvon meets embrace of his father, where George Floyd cries in arms of his mother, where Sandra Bland rests in hugs from family members, amongst many other reunions of those slain in hate. And LeVar Burton, he sprouts butterfly wings, telling stories from banned books read from pulpits, crafted from planks of reincarnated slave masters, Klan members, Trump supporters, who are cursed to hear our sermons till eternity's hands tired of rotating this universe, as we write our goodbyes over the galaxy. For we will not celebrate in a solar system that can be traveled by men who colonize comets like Columbus, extend borders over the moon with cold hearts, deploying ice raids for space patrol, commanding immigrants to freeze, continuing to call them aliens illegally on a planet, country that they believe was given to them by God, and that's why they hate history, that pulls back curtains of a constitution, that's of many bodies, patriotic to whips cracked, that's pained, starry eyes till red, white, and blue strip backs, peeling back layers of lies in the form of fireworks that light up a 4th of July sky, telling of a freedom that slaves of the South were beat, bloodied, and binded from knowing for 89 years. That we will celebrate in the cosmos. You let them know that we will return back to this chaotic country of America and heal it with our liberation songs, carrying stories and names of our ancestors within our beings and joys, within our being and joy till it vibrates without the whole environment. And they're going to have to learn how to deal with it. Poem. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
So, we'll wrap it up. But yeah, I met Aubrey. I was going to see one of my favorite poets. His name is Obi West, and I met him out there in Rock Island. And like he said, we just been rocking ever since. But the reason why I started like writing down the poems like heavily was because of him. And Genesis is the reason why I started the actual book. I had a conversation with her, and she was like, I told her that I don't have any place to put these poems because my cousin Antonio, we record poems or whatever like like flowetry, like we do that or whatever. And I didn't have anywhere to put some poems. I was talking to her, and she told me, she said, "Well, when you gonna start the book?" And both of them have books too. So she has 2 books out, and he has 4 books out. So y'all can rock with them too. But yeah, so I'm trying to catch up. I'm the baby of the club. But yeah, that's about it, I guess, at this point. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, the doobies are in the back. No, I'm just- we got some Coronas back there. No, I did what? Oh, oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have to acknowledge. Kirsten did edit the book. That's my older sister. So those who
Oh,
don't know,
shout out.
Kirsten did edit the book. So the reason why it's not misspellings, because my God, when I tell y'all I had to learn how to spell appreciate just so I can sign these books. Oh Jesus! I cannot spell. I was a math person. I did not spell. So that was that. And Sarah, who couldn't make it, Sarah actually took this photo. And the one on the back too. We ran through Rock Island one day. I had about 7 or 8 outfits. We've just taken pictures for 3 hours. And yeah, and so I told her I just like this picture. I like the colors. I like the red door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in the picture, but above that door, the address is 111. And it's right next to a coffee shop. What was the name of that coffee shop? Theo's Coffee Shop. And I went into Theo's Coffee Shop, and when I walked in there, it was 2 bars in the coffee shop. And I said, see, this is God right here. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah. So